Learning more tonight on the work it took to bring home 12 East Texas missionaries who got caught up in a government takeover in Africa. Harmony Hill Baptist Church in Lufkin recently sent a team of missionaries to Niger to spread their message. During the stay, the country began a coup which prevented their timely return. On Tuesday, the church announced their team would be able to return home, but arranging this return involved multiple leaders and international cooperation. We spoke with Congressman Pete Sessions today on how he and others worked to get this group home.
They were sequestered as a result of a coup that took place in Niger. So they're not in their home country. There's a circumstance with armed violence, and they gathered together and people worked together. We helped. Reverend Corps was most operationally outstanding. Mayor Mark Hicks of Lufkin was our intermediary with us. We worked together, my team, their team, and we got these 12 wonderful people from Lufkin back home safely.
Representative Sessions went on to say the State Department was involved and they worked with the Italians to get that team out of Africa.